I'm standing here right now watching the two people I started this journey with walk away for good. I watch them cross the river, their forms shrinking until they're just two small figures climbing into a waiting truck. And just like that, I'm alone. The trail is finally mine. But as the engine's rumble fades into a deafening silence, I can't decide which is colder, the brutal biting air or being utterly alone. My name's Nancy, and this little adventure started 3 days ago. I set out on the Nepisiguit Trail, a path that follows the river the Mi'kmaq call Nepisiguit, with two good friends, Greg and Retha. A ridiculous amount of optimism and a plan. A simple plan. Hike together, camp together, finish together. But this trail, this ancient, indifferent ribbon of earth, it couldn't care less about our plans. It has its own agenda. It tests you. It wears you down. And it asks a very simple question. How much can you take? My friends just gave their answer.
Bye!
Now it's my turn.
What a night.
The first sign of a crack appeared at Popple Depot. Space was tight, so we had to make camp on opposite sides of the river. Where Greg and Retha stayed, I should have said that, is it's called Popple Depot Pit. This would have been a nice spot too, but it's not very sheltered. And if anyone's at the ranger station, I'm looking in their backyard. I don't feel right about doing that. Oh, there's a beaver here. I thought I heard a beaver gnawing on something last night. As the evening cold sank its teeth in, I sat alone, nursing the rest of my scotch for warmth. Across the water, I could hear bursts of laughter from their tent. They'd spilled their own bottle and were doing what they called floor shots, salvaging what they could. The next morning, I woke up to find my tent encased in a thick crystalline layer of frost.
It's cold. There's frost on my tent.
Just as I was shaking the ice off, Greg and Retha came by, already packed up. They were heading out for Devil's Elbow.
This wasn't supposed to be this cold.
I was just waking up. The first gap between us had formed, measured not in meters across the river, but in hours on the trail.
That was cold, like freezing cold. I had ice on the inside of my tent. Big chunks of ice on the inside of my tent. There's a layer of frost all over the ground here. It's pretty chilly. Greg and Retha stopped in and they're already headed out. They said their site was fine. Beside the water, it's going to be colder. Looking now, I should have actually went back in there in the woods and I wouldn't have been so cold. Because they said there's no frost on the ground in the forest. It's just here by the water, of course. So I found a place to dry out my stuff. You can still see moisture on there. Hang up my sleeping bag on that teepee frame. And then I'm having my breakfast here.
That day, I hiked alone.
Oh, it's pretty. Let me show you.
And that's when the trail started its interrogation. My pinky toe began to scream, a sharp, stabbing protest with every single step. But as the pain sharpened, so did my focus. To distract myself, I started noticing the world at my feet. Fungi. Millions of them. An entire universe of strange, beautiful, and bizarre life clinging to logs and sprouting from the damp earth. There were tiny orange trumpets, delicate white webs, and rubbery brown ears.
Is this Labrador tea?
Look at the size of this toadstool. I don't know if it's poisonous, so I'm not going to touch it, but it gives you any indication this is my trekking pole. My hike became a slow, painful meditation on mushrooms.
I'm kind of a little bit stuck. This is the brook I've got to cross.
And then I saw it. An arrow made of tree branches laid carefully on the path, marking a turn they had missed and corrected.
The trail goes up here.
It was a small, thoughtful signal in the wilderness, a sign that even though we were separate, we were still connected on this path. I caught up with them at the Devil's Elbow, or Solitude, late in the afternoon.
Hello.
The reunion was strained, not by anger, but by pain. Retha's feet were a mass of blisters, and every step was agony. They decided to push on to the next site, Camp Gigton, but they warned me there was likely only room for 1 or 2 tents. For the first time on the trail, a wave of genuine relief washed over me.
So for dinner tonight, I have some honey garlic noodles, and wild Alaskan pink salmon. And I'm still eating with a makeshift spoon. This is my spoon for tonight. Oh, this end. Just adds a little extra woody flavor. Kind of pretty right here. So Greg and Retha have left. They're heading off to the next one. It's 3 kilometers to the next one. And then tomorrow, I got to try and get ahead of them because I get up later than they do. And my plan was to get a little farther ahead each day on the trail. But they, last night they came with me. And then tonight, they're going ahead and there's only 3 tenting spots there. So Greg snores a lot, so I'm not going to go. And then the next campsite is another 10K. I don't have 13K more in me today, so I thought I'll just stay here and make up for it tomorrow. I got to do 27K tomorrow, which is what we did yesterday. We did 27K yesterday, so it's doable. My legs feel a little bit tired. My hip hinge has been bothering me. Should put my noodles in. I'm distracted. Here. Get it cooking. Show you what I'm doing. So I just add that to the water, to the boiling water, and then stir it up and let it simmer with the lid on. And this is my lid. Sometimes I'll put a rock there.
I was happy to stay behind. It meant I could have the Devil's Elbow shelter all to myself.
Just got my supplies that I need for tomorrow morning right there. And my bed. I'm gonna sleep right there.
No tent to pitch in the falling temperatures.
I love it. This shelter has a clothesline and hooks.
No wrestling with condensation. Just a solid roof and 3 walls. The decision felt like a gift.
Found a feather on the trail today. This site does have slugs, so I just found one on my water bottle. So I prefer it to be inside the shelter. Everything, all of my stuff. Did I leave anything out here? Oh, my feather. So I'm just I've already had my dinner. It's only 5 o'clock, but I think I'm gonna turn in a little bit early tonight, and so I can get a earlier start tomorrow morning. See what my legs have in them tomorrow. Because it's not just a matter of getting up early. You also have to be able to hike the miles. And I don't know if my legs can do it, but with a good rest tonight, I hope that I will be able to put 27 kilometers on tomorrow. Or more. Maybe I can do 30. That'll be my longest day if I do 30.
That night, alone, in the Devil's Elbow shelter, was a turning point. I was right. It was significantly warmer than my single-wall tent would have been.
Oh, good morning. It's another chilly one, but I don't have frost outside at least, and it's only 6:30. But I want to get a head start on my day, so I'm going to try and get up and get myself moving, even though I want to jump right back in that bed and get warm.
I had the best, most restorative sleep so far of the entire trip. There was no anxiety, no shock of being abandoned. This was a strategic choice, and it had paid off beautifully. I wasn't just surviving the trail, I was learning how to work with it, how to find its small mercies and use them to my advantage.
I found these liners. They're going to come in handy. I'm going to put them underneath my own liner, which these are getting pretty worn. They're pretty thin here, so I'm just going to stick these in underneath my liner and give me a little bit more padding.
The solitude didn't feel like a punishment. It felt like a reward.
So sitting here having coffee, I was looking at the site's name again. It's the Devil's Elbow. And I'm hoping that doesn't mean my hike out is going to be brutal. I hope it just means that it's that hill. There's a really steep descent down into the site from like Mount Carlton side, the way I came last night. And it looks like it's a nice forest path when I start out, but we will see. I'm going to finish up here. I just have some things to pack up, and then I will be heading out right away. It's like 10 after 7. Just getting to the outhouse here. I'll show you how to get there. It's a little bit of a drive. Outhouse this way. And there it is. It's not an outhouse, it's a throne. Pretty nice scenic backdrop of a rotten stump. And then you have a creep in the woods over there. All in all, no one's going to be able to see you poop except that guy. There's the other one.
I woke early, feeling recharged, and hit the trail with new energy.
Here it is. This is Camp Gigton. That's a nice spot. Right on the river. And it looks like Greg and Retha have vacated. There is no trace of them. They stayed here last night. So it's 8:14. Oh, this might be one of theirs. I'll pick it up.
I caught up to Greg and Retha by 9 a.m. My night of solid rest had completely closed the gap. From then on, I was determined to sleep in the shelters whenever possible.
So I just passed Greg and Retha. That was her cord. Thank goodness I picked it up. These are my favorite spots. And it looks like we're going up. That's not the way. We're going up there. Oh, I made it. I'm up. It actually didn't take that long. It's really steep though, and maybe not even 3-minute climb, but really steep. So made it at the top, and I lost a layer. Oh, I gotta show you. I'm trying to think of the most appropriate way to show this on camera, but I do have a gear failure already. My leggings were a little thin when I started out, and on the second day I noticed they had blown a hole, and the hole is in a very inconspicuous spot. I want to get to 85 at least today, between 75 and 85. Such pretty country here in the Appalachians by Mount Carlton. Mount Carlton is the highest mountain in New Brunswick. I think it's over 500 meters tall. You guys, check out this cedar over here. It's like a condominium for woodpeckers. The thing is huge. And right next to it, on the other side of this little brook, there's a gigantic, I think it's a white pine. I just gotta hug it. I can't even get my arm around half of it. I don't know my snakes, but is that one poisonous?
We agreed to meet at 44-Mile Brook, a spot on the map called The Bend, to decide our next move.
Ooh, access N for Nancy. And this is 44-Mile Brook.
But when I got there, I felt strong. I still had hours of daylight. So this time it was me who left the signal, a note in tree branches letting them know I was pushing onto the shelter at 40-Mile Brook.
So I think that means I've gone to 40-Mile Brook.
I later learned that when I stopped for a quick break at Indian Falls, Greg was only 15 minutes behind me. A girl traveling in the opposite direction with her dog gave them an update and told them she'd just seen me at the falls. I think hearing how close I was gave Retha enough hope to keep going.
It's another, I don't even know. I think it's another, I would say 4 miles. Does that make sense though? 4 miles is a lot. It's another couple hours at least. But I'm going to do it. There's no point staying there. There's nothing. And I know there's better sights along this trail. I just can't wait to get to those teepees.
From the bend, I pushed on.
Oh look, another bridge. So 85 was my goal for the day. I started out at 110 and I got to 85, so that's 25 kilometers. So I'm proud of myself. And then this campsite's just a few more steps.
Reaching the shelter at 40-Mile Brook, Popple with plenty of time to settle in before nightfall.
Oh, when you're so hungry, you just forget to film yourself. So here's what I'm eating. I already ate the chunk light tuna. I ate it first before my mashed potatoes, and then these are loaded baked potatoes. Yes, and I still have my stick. Oh, this is a different stick.
I got a clean stick today. I set up my stove, made my dinner, and watched the fading sun's shadows dance across the river, falling asleep well before the stars began to appear. It's 6:15, and I've got everything set up. I like to hang up everything at night to dry out because it's all sweaty and wet. I've got my bed on my bedside table. I have a bedside table at these things, so that's why I like them. Everything can be hung and dry. And then I've got my table here and my water access. It's quite a perfect view. I'm just gonna wash my pots. I'm all done my dinner now and get some more water. Refill. I haven't seen Greg and Retha today yet. Well, I haven't seen them since I passed them this morning, but I wonder if they're gonna stay behind at the Bend campsite where we saw. Oh, this is beautiful. Look what I just stepped out on. Oh, this river is so beautiful. I expect to see moose or bear along the shoreline, especially over there. That is a access point, they call it. So if you need rescue or help, they can access here. Beautiful. Doesn't get any better than this. It was a chosen solitude, a comfortable quiet. I knew they were just a few kilometers behind me. I'm just sipping my tea, enjoying this view. And I fully expected them to roll in around mid-morning. Before I forget, I want to do some shout-outs. So first of all, I want to do a shout-out to Retha for joining us on this trip. And then I want to do a shout-out to Greg of the Greg Escape. Greg and I have been hiking friends for, like a couple years now. And you'll find all his side of the story on his channel. I'll link it in the description. And I want to give a special shout out to Greg's dad, who sponsored us for a meal at the Montreal airport. So thank you, Greg's dad. I want to do a shout out to Nick Ball, who Nick Ball sent me a buy me a coffee like a while ago, like probably a year ago, and I never knew until recently, and I don't know how I came upon this, but I learned that Nick Ball that's him with the daft hat. So thank you so much, Daft Hat, aka Nick Ball, because we know each other by our YouTube names only. Old Dirty Booner, who is Camp Like a Boon, and we've got that Paul, the Shadow Camper. We've got Nick at the Outdoorsman. We've got Gravedigger. We've got Hidden Hammock, who is in Vietnam right now doing a crazy adventure on a bike. He's biking from Hanoi, Vietnam to Ho Chi Minh City. Hopefully he can make it. And he's camping along the way. And so kind of my dream adventure, but I'm not that daring. And I need to work. We've got Daniel from Hammock Mountain, Yost, who can forget about Yost, Steve, the transit camper, and Kat from Stets by Catch. I'll put all of these down in the description. You guys can look them up if you want to, and give them a follow, like their videos, help them out. Anyway, I'm gonna sign off because the mosquitoes are starting to join us in our conversation, and they like to eavesdrop a lot and take nibbles whenever they can. So I'm not gonna sit here and feed them, but I'll bring you back at just before night. Okay, I'm all tucked in. It's about 8 o'clock. No sign of Greg and Retha, so they stayed at the Bend campsite, I'm sure of it. And I'm gonna tuck in for the night and get a good rest, and then I can go hard again tomorrow morning. We're on day 3, and I'm at mile like 83, so I've done 67 kilometers in 3 days so far, and I've got 83 to go. It's such a awesome, peaceful place. And the next 3 sites, I think, are going to be teepees. The plan was working. We were hiking our own hikes, but still moving in the same direction.
Good morning.
It is 7:45. I slept like, 12 hours last night. Really good. No noises. I was warm, nice and comfortable. I only had to blow up my sleeping pad once. At the other shelter, I had to blow it up 7 times. Maybe because it was colder. I think as closer we get to Bathurst, it's going to be warmer. So I'll get up and then I'll see. I'll wait for Greg and Retha for a little bit. And if they don't come by, I think it's like a probably 2 hours hike. I got a lead on them, so I'll wait for them for a little bit. And there is a possibility that they might have tapped out and got a shuttle back to Bathurst and stayed in the night in the hotel. Greg was talking about that for the last day, but I will know if their food is in the resupply, if they're still in the trail or not. So I go past the resupply in like an hour down the trail. So I'll get up and add them, and then I'll wait here for a little bit till about 9. I'll wait.
Sure enough, they arrived around 9 the next morning when I was just sweeping up, but the look on their faces told the story before they said a word.
We're getting off.
Greg's words were quiet but final. Retha's feet were too painful to continue, and his own air mattress had sprung a leak, leaving him sleepless and cold for 2 nights. Neither of them was getting any rest. Their journey was over. I watched as they crossed the river to an access point where Renee, the same driver who dropped us off, was waiting. We waved goodbye across the water, and then I turned and faced the trail, alone.
See you Sunday. Yeah, 4 days. Bye.
And now the real trek begins.
You know, solitude isn't just about being physically alone. It's about watching a shared goal dissolve and having to find a new one right there on the spot. It's the moment your partners reach their absolute limit, and you have to accept that your path and theirs have diverged for good. Out there in that vast, unforgiving quiet, I learned a lot. I learned that your body can handle more pain than you think, but that morale is a fragile, finite resource. Most profoundly, I learned that you keep walking. Even when the original reason for the journey is climbing into a truck and driving away, you just keep moving forward. The trail doesn't congratulate you for that. It just lets you continue. So if you've ever had to watch a partner stop, or maybe been the one that had to walk away first, I want to hear your story. How did you handle that moment? What did you learn? Drop a comment below, and if you're curious to see what happens next, to see where this solo journey leads, then hit that subscribe button if you're not already. The story isn't over yet. That morning, the air was crisp and painfully clear. The dew was lingering on the trees, and the silence was absolute. My friends were gone.
Here we go.
The bottle of Scotch was a distant memory. And this trail, it just keeps testing. But here's the thing. I'm still walking. The question that echoes in my mind now isn't if I'll finish, but why? With the group gone, what is the purpose? Am I just proving something to myself, or am I just finally, truly walking at my own pace? I guess finding the answer to that is a journey worth taking. I'll see you in the next one, and until then, happy trekking. Coming up next on the Nepisiguit Trail.
I've never slept in a teepee before. So guys, what do you think?
75 kilometers, halfway, baby.